Watch the fascinating story of the Prophet traveling from Mecca to Bayt al-Maqdis in Jerusalem and up to the seven heavens, where he meets several prophets and have conversations with them, and above all, has a private meeting with the creator of the universe, Allah himself.
This happened around a year before the Hijrah, when Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was in his house. Jibril alayhi salam came to him and took him to Hatim, which is the semicircular region out of the Kaaba. He brought a golden bowl which was full of Zamzam water, opened the Prophet's chest, took his heart out, washed it, and put it back. He had a pure white animal that was similar to a horse but was smaller than a mule and larger than a donkey. It was called al-Burak and had a harness and a saddle on it. When Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, mounted it, it started shaking its body, denying the Prophet. Jibril alayhi salam pulled the harness and said,
"Woe to you! Are you not ashamed? By Allah, no one has ridden you more blessed in the eyes of Allah than your current rider."
Then the animal took off from Mecca, along with Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. It had the speed of lightning, and every step it placed on the ground was far as the eye could see. When it reached Bayt al-Maqdis, it stopped in order for the Prophet to get down. The Prophet tied it to the animal post, which was used by the Prophets, went inside and prayed 2 rakats. When he finished his prayer, he turned around and saw several other prophets praying, including Musa alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam, and Ibrahim alayhi salam. Then the Prophet and Jibril started ascending towards the sky. When they reached the first heaven, Jibril alayhi salam showed him 2 glasses, asking him to pick one for his ummah, one containing milk and the other containing wine. While wine was still halal, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, chose milk. Jibril alayhi salam asked permission for the doors of heavens to be opened. When the Prophet went inside the first heaven, there was a tall man standing in front of him. Jibril alayhi salam said,
"This is your father, Adam. Say salam to him."
When the Prophet said salam, Adam responded with, "Welcome, O noble son, and O noble Prophet." In the second heaven, there were 2 men. The Prophet was told, "This is Yahya and Isa." When the Prophet said salam, they responded with, "Welcome, O noble brother and O noble Prophet." In the third heaven, there was Yusuf alayhi salam. His response was the same, "Welcome, O noble brother and O noble Prophet." Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, when explaining this to his companions, "I saw Yusuf, and behold, it was as if he had been given half of all beauty." In the fourth heaven, there was Idris alayhi salam. His response was the same. In the fifth heaven, there was Harun alayhi salam, the same response. In the sixth heaven, there was Musa alayhi salam. When he saw Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, Musa began to cry. When he was asked about it, he responded with,
"I am crying because this young man will have a larger following that will enter Jannah than my own ummah."
They went to the seventh heaven and saw Ibrahim alayhi salam. He was leaning on al-Baytul Ma'mur. It is said, al-Baytul Ma'mur is similar to the Kaaba, more like a Kaaba of the heavens, which is directly above the Kaaba on earth, such that if it were to fall, it would fall on the Kaaba of this earth. Ibrahim alayhi salam is there because he's the one who built the Kaaba on earth. Jibril alayhi salam said,
"This is your father Ibrahim, say salam to him."
He responded the same as Adam alayhi salam, "Welcome, O noble son and O noble Prophet." They asked Ibrahim alayhi salam about the day of judgment, and he said, "I don't have any knowledge about it." Then they asked Musa alayhi salam, and he didn't know it either. When Isa alayhi salam was asked, he said,
"I have been promised or informed that one of the signs of it is that I will be coming back to earth, and Allah knows when it is."
Then Jibril alayhi salam pointed at someone and said to the Prophet, "This is Malik, the gatekeeper of Jahannam. Say salam to him." When the Prophet was about to greet him, Malik alayhi salam greeted him, and the Prophet returned the salams. Malik seemed completely somber and sad. When Jibril was asked about this, he said,
"He has never laughed or smiled since he has been created. If he were to smile for anybody, it would have been you."
As they were moving above the seventh heaven, the Prophet saw Sidratul Muntaha. It is a type of tree known for its large branches, sweet scent and delicious fruits, surrounded by beautiful butterflies and exotic colors which the Prophet didn't even know what those colors were. Everything that is created in both worlds is said to stop at Sidratul Muntaha, and everything that is coming down to earth is coming from Sidratul Muntaha. Scholars have explained that the trunk of the tree begins in the sixth heaven, and its branches finish at the end of the seventh heaven. The only thing that is beyond it is the throne, and the one who is above the throne. Then the Prophet saw Jibreel alayhi salam in his original form, who had 600 wings, where pearls and corals were dripping from the feathers and were huge enough to block the entire horizon. As they were rising high, Jibreel alayhi salam stopped at a point, and the Prophet alone was told to rise higher. As he was rising high, he was able to hear the divine pen which was writing everything that's going to happen until the end. On the top, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had a private meeting with Allah and was given 3 things. Number 1, 50 salah every day. Number 2, the ending of Surah Al-Baqarah. And number 3, Allah promised him that whoever worshipped him from his ummah without doing shirk, that he will be forgiven and caused to enter Jannah. On the way down, he met Musa alayhi salam. Musa told him,
Go back to your Lord and tell him to lower this, because your ummah won't be able to pray 50 times a day.
The Prophet looked at Jibreel, and Jibreel nodded to him. So the Prophet went back up, and the numbers were reduced by 5 or 10, Allah knows best. He came down, and Musa told him to reduce it even more. So he did the same, back and forth several times until it came down to 5. Musa said one more time, but the Prophet refused, saying, I am embarrassed now, but I am content and happy. When he said this, a voice called out, and this was the voice of Allah. My Farida has been established, and I have made things easier for my servants. It is 5, but it shall be rewarded with 50. On the way down, there was a sweet fragrance. Jibril said, This is the fragrance of the woman who used to comb the hair of the daughter of Firaun and her children. He then saw heaven and hell from the outside, where the tents of heaven were made out of pearls, and the soil was made out of musk, whereas he saw several punishments of hell. When he came back to Jerusalem, he mounted Barak and rode back to Medina. On the way back, he passed 3 caravans of Quraysh that he recognized. The next day he was sitting in front of the Kaaba and was feeling anxious about telling this to other people. When Abu Jahl was passing by, he saw the Prophet and said in a sarcastic manner,
What is the matter with you? Has anything happened?
The Prophet said, Yes, last night I was taken from here to Jerusalem. Abu Jahl was shocked and said,
Now you're here among us? If I call your people, will you tell them what you just told me?
The Prophet said, Yes. Then Abu Jahl called the others. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told them what happened, and some of them kept their hands on their heads, not knowing what to do. And some others began laughing, until one of them, knowing that the Prophet has never been to Jerusalem, said,
Can you describe Bayt al-Maqdis for us?
The Prophet began describing, and they were asking for specifics, which he wasn't able to remember. When he got confused, he was worried and anxious. Then he saw in a distance where Bayt al-Maqdis was rising in front of him, and he was able to answer every question about Bayt al-Maqdis as he was looking at it. And he saw it slowly descending back until one of them said,
As for the descriptions of Bayt al-Maqdis, he is accurate.
Then the Prophet mentioned the descriptions of the 3 caravans which he saw on the way back, saying that the first caravan would be returning soon as they were the closest to the city. While they were discussing, the news arrived that the caravan was entering Mecca. Abu Jahl saw the caravan, and it was exactly as the Prophet described. He said,
This is pure sorcery.
This journey was gifted to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, where no other man was given to see everything with his own eyes to increase his iman. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more amazing content, and check my other videos which might be useful for you. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.